welcome back to Sorensen Solves. Today we will be learning how to make bar and line graphs. So what we'll discuss today is our learning objective, what we are trying to learn from this lesson, words to remember or vocabulary words. We have 3 examples to go over, and then you will have some time to do your practice problems, and we would look over those later. Learning objectives. Today, after this lesson, hopefully you will be able to learn how to create a bar graph. And number 2, you will be able to create a line graph and use a line graph to make predictions. Words to remember. So you have 2 main vocabulary words. You have bar graph. Okay, a bar graph, you may use a bar graph to compare amounts, whereas a line graph you use to show how an amount changes over time. All right, they're 2 very different things. One is to compare and one is to see how something changes. And you'll see what that looks like later on. So to start, we're going to make a bar graph using the table. So over here we have movies and income in millions. So each of these movies made a lot of money when they were released. All right, and so starting off, first thing you need to do for a bar graph is you got to make a little L shape. All right. So down here on the bottom, you want to put the movie that you were naming, and off here to the side, you want the income. So you can see that here we're comparing the different amounts, or the amounts of how much each one made. Now the entire title, okay, usually you want a title as income. Oh my gosh, I butchered that. Absolutely butchered that. Income of movies. All right, so I'm just going to put these names down here on the bottom, and I'm just going to abbreviate them, but I am going to change the colors. So red is going to be for Thor. And we're going to have orange be Uncharted. We're going to have green be Top Gun. We're gonna have blue be Avatar, because of course Avatar is blue people. We're just gonna have the black be, what's left, Doctor Strange. Okay, so these are all our movies down here on the bottom. Off to the side, you need to start with a certain amount. So over here we're putting the income, so we're making a scale of which to go up for the income in monies. So we're just going to start at, we could probably just start at 0. Now our highest is 750. So we want 750 to be about there. Now what scale or how much should we go up by each time? Well, I'm not going to go up by 1 because that's 750 marks. That's not enough. I'm not going to go up by 10 because that's 75 marks. I could go up by 100, couldn't I? That'd be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 750. It's not perfect, but gets the point across. 400, 500, 600. You know what? I'm going to extend that a little bit. Extend it, and that'll be 700 and 750. All right, now all we gotta do is we gotta make a bar for each of these movies. All right, so for Avatar, it goes all the way up to 750. Now, just to be clear, it does not have to be pretty. Okay, you can make it pretty if you'd like, but as you can tell by mine, it is not pretty. Thor goes up to 343, so we go up to 300. We go to about where we think 343 would be, and we connect it down here to the bottom. Next is our Uncharted, so 149. So we go to 100 where we think 149 would be. Make a line and create our little chart. And we keep going until we have all of our movie bars listed. Up here. Here's a bar for Top Gun. Coloring in. And last but certainly not least, Doctor Strange. So looking at this, you can clearly see which ones have the most. Avatar and Top Gun for sure have the most, and which one has the least? Uncharted has the least. It makes your life a little bit easier when it comes to comparing quantities of something. Okay. Now, when it comes to making a line graph, okay, a line graph is changes over time. So over here, you have years, which is a sense of time. And over here, you have an amount. Okay, so over the years, it changes. Line graphs are relatively easy, okay? So same thing with the bar graph, how we start out with an L. All right, you need to label both sides. So on this bottom, I'm gonna have it be the year. And on this side, it's gonna be the number. So I'm gonna put the years down here. So this is 1980. This is gonna be 84. This is gonna be 88, 92, 96. And up here, right, we're gonna start at 10, go to 20, go to 30. And for each one, I just put the number above the correlating year. So in 1980, we would put 14.9, put a little dot. 84 would be 17.4, so a little bit higher. 21.7. Then we got 24.2. And 28.9, practically 30. And you just draw a line through it. That's it. Oh, and you got to title your graph, sorry. So it'd be indoor movie screens in the US in thousands. Okay, so this is a line graph. So here we start at 1980. So here we start at 1980. Here we got 1984. Here we got 1988. And we got 1992, 1996. All right, so as you go to the year, 1980, and you go up to 14.9, and you make a dot. And you slowly do this with each number. So 17.4, 21.7, 24.2, and 28.9. What this allows you to do is see a pattern, all right, or a degrade. It's either positive or negative, or there's no correlation. Line graphs allow you to see the change over time. All right. So here you can see that the indoor movie screens in the US goes up as the years progress, which makes sense because as technology continues, we continue to get more and more screens because we're addicted to screens in general. So now we're going to use the line graph to predict the number of screens in 2000 and 2004. Right? So continuing on this line, right? If we're just going to assume it goes like this, we can assume that at 2000 we're going to be about here, and at 2004 we're going to be about here. So we come over to this side over here on both points, and we can see that this point is probably close to 37, and this point is probably closer to 40, or sorry, nope, not 37. That this thing is closer to 34, and this one is close to 37. Right? Let's see how we did. Alright, so you can see that you can estimate the next pattern in line graphs, which makes it really useful. Now, one more thing to remember is that you need to label the bottom axis, the side axis, and the title, okay? You must always label these three things, because if you don't label these, we don't know anything about your graph, and then we can't read it effectively. If we can't read it effectively, then it's kind of a pointless graph. So go ahead and try this at home. Using this table, I want you to draw a line or a bar graph, and why did you choose that graph? Okay, then you're going to tell me any trends you see, okay? So you need to decide whether it's a line graph, which measures change over time, or a bar graph, which compares things together. All right, then why did you choose that? And then any trends would be like which is highest. And kind of just stuff like that. Any patterns, anything you observe from it. Thanks for watching. This has been Sorensen Solves.